Good morning, Robert Phoenix here. Welcome to another edition of 15 Minutes of Flame. Sorry for the bit of a delay. I had some issues on the 15 Minutes of Flame website side in order to get things going. Let's see, we've got everybody in the chat room gathering together. We got Jennifer and Paulette, Luann, Amy Maxey. Hi, Amy. Justice, Mary. Hi, Mary. Jenny Beasley's there. There's T Grill. T Grill, what's going on? So, yeah, welcome back to the weekly affair. Been having some issues with just speeds on the internet last night, today. You're probably going to see some of that weird subtitle talk that happened. I'll say the word, and then it'll happen like that, right? So bear with me. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Last night, I could barely even get on the internet. The speeds were so absolutely slow. But I guess when 5G comes, we won't have to worry about that now, will we? 5G will solve everything. Well, there are too many people on the internet, and we've got to be able to get the speed up. So we can't ask people to use the internet less, so we need to be able to make the internet faster. That's well, they'll probably go with it. But yeah, it was very difficult for me to kind of cruise through the internet last night. I did everything. I shut programs down. I rebooted. It was not good. Anyway, welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, the day before 9/11. We talked extensively about 9/11 on the Sunday night show. I really got into the chart in a fairly deep way. I don't expect any grand revelations, but I do expect some methane bubbles to, hey, come on, what are you doing? He took me totally by surprise in that one. Totally by surprise. That was almost a catastrophe. All right, come on, say hello to your adoring fans. Say hello to your adoring fans. Yes, I know. You're a good dude. So how is everybody? How was your weekend and your Sunday? We are hurtling towards the fall, and we have the solstice or the equinox on the 23rd this year, not the 22nd, but the 23rd. So we have that to look forward to. Isn't that going to be fun? I think so. We got harvest moon in the hill country. That's happening, of course, on the 11th, 12th, and the 13th here in Fredericksburg and Kerrville, Hill Country, Texas. We're going to have an absolute blast. All right, let's get into today's show, because I think I only allotted myself about 30 minutes to talk, so I better get to it and not jimmy jack around. So some interesting developments, obviously, over the last couple days. I think the headline item here, to be honest with you, is what happened to... Oh, that's on Chrome. There we go. Let me get over here. Let's just see if there's anybody in the 15-minute side. I think maybe I could rent Jasper out as a comfort cat. One of those animals that you take on the plane. Hey, we got Lori and Indy. Hi, Lori. Lori and Maury and Judy. Judy, Lori, and Maury. Sounds like a 1960s sitcom. What's going on? See you guys in there. Let's give you some props. Hey, so let's get to it. Let's get to the big ticket item today. It does have to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I'm going to start with Jeffrey Epstein and work my way back. So there is a lot of stuff going on in Epstein Island, and there's a big post on Vigilant Citizen, who I think always does a pretty good job, to be honest with you. So let's just get to the. Let's do this. Let's do that. Strange things are happening on Epstein Island drone footage. Recent drone footage of Little St. James reveals strange activity and telling facts about the Jeffrey Epstein investigation since his death. As expected, everything points towards a massive cover-up. Here are the most revealing images, got two drones that I loaded up. What I'm going to do is inside this the chat room, so you guys can, if you want to, you can go wander off and check some of this other stuff out. So what it's all saying. So let me put this in the chat room, and you guys can have it in your domains, because I'm going to be reading off of it. And let's do this really quickly. Give me one sec. So I'm just dropping this in over on the 15 side. There we go. And whoops. Let's see. General. Yeah, I'm going to drop this on the 15 side. And then you guys over on the YouTube side, you're going to get this as well. Hi, Christine. Here we go. Alrighty. Okay, so if you want to, you can go check that out. I'm going to be reading from that page, so you can follow along at home if you want. I think maybe I could probably get a gig as a cat whisperer. What do you think? Might be able to give Jackson Galaxy a run for his money. All right, here we go. I'm going to start to read from the not the 15 minutes, but the Vigilant Citizen page here. Here we go. Man, the internet is just so choppy. Recent drone footage, we talked about that. Ever since Jeffrey Epstein's highly suspicious death at a maximum security prison, things only got more suspicious. Although the autopsy officially concluded that the cause of death was suicide, a steady flow of facts and revelations are strongly hinting towards a massive cover-up. First, it was recently revealed that 2 cameras filming the jail cell of Jeffrey Epstein at the time of his death were broken, and the recordings were deemed unusable by authorities. Give me a break. Second, 2 guards allegedly slept through scheduled checks. Okay, so what are the odds of that? You got broken clocks, and you have maybe drugged up, drugged out, or sleepy, or MIA guards. Okay? And then the records, the scheduled checks were falsified. Third, his buddy, Jean-Luc Brunel, suspected of being one of his pimps, he's disappeared. So he's not around. He's the guy that got the young gals from Europe, the so-called models, to be in Epstein's world. Probably was involved in introducing or securing Melania Trump, who was a model from the same part of the world that they were getting the young girls from. While mass media has been carefully filtering some of this information while ignoring other facts, Rusty Shackelford YouTube channel, who I think is John McAfee, right, has been providing raw, unfiltered source information by posting on a regular basis. So you may want to keep your eye on that channel. Drone footage of Epstein Island and its surroundings. The footage captured in the past weeks reveals that there are strange things happening on the island. Considering the fact that Little St. James was the site of the heinous crimes involving powerful people, one would expect the island to be treated like a crime scene that's completely closed off to non-investigators. That is not what is happening. So the FBI did their little, I guess, walkthrough, and now whoever is in charge of the cleanup crew is doing their walkthrough now. Let me show you an image here. This is a very interesting image. This is a couple of ATVs there, and you got the guy in the green ATV. Looks like he's probably hired help. But then there's this guy in the blue ATV, looking suspiciously like maybe Jeffrey Epstein, right? I mean, look at that dude. Is it a dead ringer? Hard to say from this distance, but it sure looks like him. And maybe, just maybe, they found a look-alike and they're trying to troll us. And I mean, all that shit happens all the time. Or not all the time, but it does happen when they want it to happen. But it's a very interesting picture nonetheless. Let me give you another picture here, which is in some ways even more suspicious. This was 10 days before his footage. So there, 10 days before his supposed death and 12 days before the FBI raids. So you can see that there is a ton of stuff going on there. There's tons of trash. I mean, they went into that place and they just started to gut it. I believe that before Epstein was arrested, he ordered an industrial grade shredder, and he also ordered I believe, a concrete, a cement mixer, like a cement mixer in a truck. Well, why would you do that? Well, you would do it because you would basically pour cement into subterranean spaces and fill them up, right? So this is happening, strange stuff happening on Epstein's Island. And a lot of questions are still unanswered here. And the specter of Jeffrey Epstein is kind of haunting us in some ways, because this is going to go right into tomorrow's mystery, which is 9/11. And it'll be a very interesting kind of convergence as we talk about Jeffrey Epstein and 9/11, right? And Larry Silverstein, the Steens. Let's salute the Steens. Anyway, just wanted to give you an update on the Epstein stuff, because it does seem like there is some unusual things happening there. And with the possibility that not only is he alive, but he's overseeing the cleaning of his own compound. Imagine that. Quite possible. Okay. So the other night, it's not like I've been getting into like this massive like firefight around Trump and people defending Trump, and me, questioning some of the stuff that Trump does, mostly because of the inclusion of his son-in-law and his daughter, who I think have much more of a grip on the policy that Trump is evolving versus Donald Trump himself. And to me, that is quite troubling, because we didn't elect these people. It's rare that we elect anybody anyway, but it seemed like we elected Trump, but we didn't elect President Javanka, and that's what it feels like is happening right now. And so one of the latest developments around this, which to me is a bit troubling to say the least, is that the envoy to Israel has stepped aside. So there's a new envoy to Israel who's been appointed, and it's one of Jared Kushner's best friends. There he is, Avi Berkowitz. U.S. puts Kushner's coffee boy in charge of Mideast peace. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that are basically drafting and enacting the foreign policy of the United States. Now, I'm not saying that it was better back in the day, because there was always some level of compromise. But back in the day, we did have people who filled those positions who actually had experience, right? Like the wise men in Kennedy's cabinet were Illuminati turds, but at least they had experience. Maybe this could be better. I don't know. Maybe the Hunger Games haircut will be a winning piece there in the Middle East. Let me just read this quickly, since we're kind of on a sprint today. This is from Press TV. U.S. President Donald Trump's new Middle East envoy is a 30-year-old White House administrative assistant who used to run errands to get coffee for his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. This guy's his coffee boy. He's now in charge of the Middle East peace process. He gets to, this, my God. Trump announced Thursday that Avi Berkowitz will replace former envoy Jason Greenblatt, who announced his resignation the day before. A Harvard Law School graduate finished his studies in 2016. He just finished his studies in 2016. Berkowitz has zero foreign policy experience except for being Kushner's right-hand man. He also joined the Trump campaign in 2016. The Business Insider, in a 2017 article, quoted former White House spokeswoman Hope Hicks as saying, Berkowitz's main duties have been daily logistics like getting coffee and coordinating meetings as Kushner's close aide. Well, this might be genius. This could be a 5D chess move. Because if he promotes somebody that is wet and green, wet behind the ears and green, that maybe he'll foul the whole thing up. Maybe that's the plan, by promoting the coffee boy. If that's the case, it's genius. Total genius. If that's not the case, then heaven help us. A former employee of the new man in charge of America's Middle East peace efforts also said on Twitter he was not very impressive and needed significant hand-holding to handle even simple assignments. But Middle East peace, I'm sure he's got this. A Middle East expert described Berkowitz as a glorified intern. Yasmin El-Gamal, a former Middle East advisor to the Pentagon, said the appointment shows the Trump administration's lack of seriousness in their plans to broker peace in the Middle East. So maybe that's what it's all about. In which case, it's fucking genius. Way to go, Don. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Promote the coffee boy. Speaking of coffee. So he's either a symbol of the rapid decline, the entropic decay of the political process, which many of you would applaud and cheer, and to some extent I would too as well. And perhaps in that regard, he's also been thrown in there because he's utterly incompetent. They're really rethinking now what's going on in Yemen. They're starting to have talks with the Houthis, because it means that their war in Yemen is failing. The war that they co-sponsored with the Saudis. The Saudis have bought all that heavy-duty equipment, arms, military weapons that Trump was, pounding his chest about. That Jared Kushner got on the phone and did a fast deal, quick deal. You throw this in, and we'll get it for this price. And whoever he was dealing with, was it Boeing or McDonnell Douglas or Raytheon or whoever? They said, yeah, good, you got it. You got this, buddy. No problem. Anyway. They're dealing with the Houthis now. They are with the Houthis because it's failing. It's faltering. They're losing the war. But they sold their weapons, and that's cool. They sold a bunch of weapons, and a lot of Yemenis wound up getting maimed, killed, whatever. Of course, the liberals will never talk about that. They never go down that path. They never want to address those kids. Speaking of kids, I got one more quickie here for you today because this is going to be kind of a quickie show. Let you guys get on with your day. Here he is. Pete Buttigieg suggests unborn babies can be aborted up till their first breath. He's using the Bible. This guy, and I'm not a big Bible guy. There are parts of the Bible that I think are interesting. There are parts I think are interesting for different reasons. Pete Buttigieg believes that that it says in the Bible that life begins at the first breath. So until that little sucker takes that first breath, he or she are fair game. And he's quoting the Bible. Meanwhile, his brother-in-law is accusing him of blasphemy and is asking him to apologize and retract his statements. Oh, this is going to go over well. This is going to go over well. So this is what happens when you promote Luciferic, satanic heathens to be the spokesperson for your party or party. Now that party doesn't really care at this point because that's what they're promoting. It's all out in the open now. So they're embracing Pete Buttigieg. They're embracing the ideals. We've already seen this. It's all out in the open. It's hand-to-hand combat when it comes to information around life and choice and all these very, very so-called serious subjects. So nobody should be surprised at this point. But I think there are still enough people now that could have some ire and feel a sense of disgust when a little twerp like this begins to spout the Bible. And again, I'm not a big Bible person, but trying to use the Bible to justify abortion is probably about as, I think, as evil as it gets, okay? It's about as twisted as it gets. And he's not a stupid guy. He's actually a pretty bright guy, but his intelligence is not showing through there. Not at all. Now, 4 or 5 years from now, 8 years from now, it might be a different story. You know, it might be a different story because the electorate will change drastically over the next decade. And this is probably going to be the last election coming up, if we do have an election, where the electorate will be comprised mostly of baby boomers, even some pre-baby boomers like my mother, who's still around, and she'll probably be around, and she'll vote. Those Pluto and Cancer people, man, they've got longevity. I'm telling you, they're sticking around. And then, of course, Gen Z like myself. And after that, it's a whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame. All right, I'm going to get out of here today because I want to have a nice, graceful ending to today's show. If you didn't catch Sunday night show, check it out. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes. There's a lot to chew on. Tomorrow, I will have an extended show around 9/11. You know, buckle in. I'm going to try to get off right around 8:15, 8:30 tomorrow, and we'll be going for an hour at least on 9/11, the anniversary of 9/11. And I'll try to talk about things that I've already talked about. And I may talk about some of those things as well. So I wish you all a fantastic day. Thank you, Chatlandia. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to accept what's possible. This is Robert Phoenix. You've been watching 15 Minutes of Flame.